Now, many of you know the name Michael Morrissey. If I say the name Michael Morrissey, a lot of you are either going to cringe, get triggered, or just roll your eyes. Michael Morrissey is still the district attorney of Norfolk County. And now it's looking like he has a new challenger that is going to face him for that position coming up in this recent election. Now, looking at this as a whole, we all saw, and I can say from personal experience being here in Fulton County, we all saw what happened with District Attorney Fani Willis right here in Fulton County. We saw the conduct of the Honorable Judge Earl Glanville during this YSL trial. We saw Fani Willis and how she handled this election interference case against President Donald Trump, how she misrepresented a lot of things on the stand. I'll say it that way, allegedly, how she refused to give basic access to Freedom of Information Act requests through her office. I mean, so many issues with Fani Willis, right? Even with all of that, she had someone who was running against her who wasn't really as experienced as a district attorney or in this type of position. And Fani Willis, with everything that happened, with everything that was going on, still got over 60 something percent. I want to say 68% of the vote here in Fulton County. So I bring that up to say, when it comes to Michael Morrissey and Norfolk County, a lot of people are not up to date on some of the cases that are going on and some of the big cases that are going on in their own county and in their own state and in their own city. So it's cool and it's interesting to see that somebody's going to be running against Michael Morrissey, but I just want to put it out there. It's highly likely that this man, who has been in office since 2010, could still be in there. Let's see what we have to say here and who's going to be running against Michael Morrissey.
A former federal prosecutor says he wants to be the next Norfolk County DA. And Adam Deitch says part of the reason he's running is in response to the handling of high-profile cases like the death of John O'Keefe and Sandra Birchmore.
Might not be enough.
I can't tell you how many times I have looked at evidence in certain cases or been in meetings where afterwards I say, what on earth is going on in Norfolk County? Somebody needs to do something.
Now, he actually worked on the federal investigation into John O'Keefe's death, so he could not speak on that matter specifically. Two other candidates have officially announced their run for the office. Current DA Michael Morrissey hasn't said yet whether he plans to run again.
Yeah, I can imagine that he will. So let's get into this article, find out more information about Adam, see what he's got going on, and if he has much of a chance to make it and to become the new Norfolk County DA. Check this out. Federal prosecutor who probed Karen Reed case jumps into the Norfolk DA race. Adam Deitch touted his experience putting a microscope to entrenched institutions and pledged accountability and integrity. As a federal prosecutor, Adam investigated Norfolk County authorities over their controversial handling of the Karen Reed case. Now he's running to replace the longtime district attorney who put Karen Reed on trial for murder. Deitch is 42, touted his experience putting a microscope to entrenched institutions and pledged to build accountability and integrity in an office beset by public outcry over a string of recent controversies. Well, they already have integrity according to Yuri Buchanan, right? Right? Shout out to Michael Proctor. The former assistant U.S. attorney once focused on corruption cases across Massachusetts, prosecuting former state police troopers involved in the commercial driver's license scandal and local activist Monica Cannon Grant for defrauding donors to her nonprofit. Deitch stepped down from his position and his post in November 7th to run for Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey's seat. I've been proud to stand shoulder to shoulder every day of my career as a prosecutor with outstanding hard work. Police officers, troopers, and federal agents, Deitch said in a statement. However, he continued, I've also seen firsthand what happens when police and prosecutors take shortcuts, rush to judgment, and they stubbornly won't consider other possibilities, or they just blatantly disregard the law and try and paint someone as a criminal when they're not. There's that part too. Innocent people are wrongfully accused, crimes go unsolved, and bad cops are protected while good officers lose faith. That's what we need to change in Norfolk County. As a DA, can you change some of that? Yes, but it really goes down to the commissioner and how the Norfolk County Police Department is handled. The district attorney more focuses on how things are indicted, right? The information and everything that's collected before then is still going to be on the MSP, is still going to be on the Norfolk Police Department, the Canton Police Department. So the district attorney is not going to be in the Canton Police Department saying, hey, what's going on here? What are you guys doing? Nope. You got to go through the sheriff. And if the sheriff's handling things a certain way, the commissioner's handling things a certain way, as a district attorney, are you really going to be able to change that? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Adam joins 3 other Democrats who have already announced their campaign for the Norfolk DA. Michael Morrissey, who was elected to the post in 2010, he's been there forever, hasn't indicated whether he plans to run for re-election. However, the sitting DA has largely remained out of the public eye since Karen Reed's acquittal. Karen Reed, 45, was accused of drunkenly backing her SUV into her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, while dropping him off at an after party in Canton in January of 2020. She's long contended she was framed in a law enforcement cover-up, and jurors found her not guilty of murder twice and manslaughter charges in June. Though Deitch's federal probe into the case yielded no charges or arrest, the investigations had an impact on Reed's 2 murder trials. The probe not only revealed ex-trooper Michael Proctor's unsavory text about Reed, and now we're finding out 13 years worth of cloud data, but also yielded 2 crash reconstruction experts who testified for the defense, and John O'Keefe's injuries were inconsistent with having been struck by Karen Reed's SUV. On Tuesday, Reed filed a lawsuit against several witnesses and the state police investigators she alleged concocted a plan and conspired to frame her. Reed's criminal case was a flashpoint in Norfolk County, as was the death of Sandra Birchmore, a 23-year-old pregnant woman allegedly killed by a former police detective who groomed her in her teenage years. We've talked about and covered that case here as well. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you go back and watch the videos where we cover that. Morrissey's office and the state medical examiner initially declared Birchmore's death a self-deletion, almost said it on YouTube, and no criminal charges were filed until federal prosecutors stepped in last year. Thank God. And they upgraded Sandra Birchmore's charges to include her unborn child. They found out it was going to be a baby boy. Speaking to the Boston Globe, Deitch cited the Reed and Birchmore cases as he explained his decision to leave his dream job, selling his condominium in East Boston, and moved to Quincy to run for office. I left my job as a federal prosecutor because it's clear there's a problem in Norfolk County, Deitch said in the statement. Victims are not getting the justice they deserve. The public has lost faith in the system, and someone has to do something about it. Well, I think the bigger issue is going to be getting people in Norfolk County to care. Do the people in Norfolk County care enough? Are the voters going to turn out? Are they just going to see Michael Morrissey's name and be like, yeah, check Michael Morrissey next? I don't even know who this Adam Deitch guy is. I'll have to wait and see. Before joining the U.S. Attorney's Office, Deitch worked at Procure, I'm sure I said that wrong, Rose LLP, and volunteered with the Innocence Project, according to his campaign. Nice. In the race to replace Morrissey, he's up against former Suffolk County prosecutors Dee Perkins, Craig McClellan, as well as public defense attorney Jim Baccarat. This campaign is more than electing a new district attorney, Deitch said. It's about building a culture of accountability and integrity where professional police work protects victims, not insiders, and where we follow the evidence no matter where it leads or who it implicates. We'll have to wait and see. Is an outsider, a technical outsider, going to be welcomed by Norfolk County? I want to know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. If Morrissey runs, he's been there a long time. He's probably going to have a good chance at getting reelected again. We'll have to wait and see.